Today we're going to make an adorable Halloween ghost wreath. Keep watching. I'm Brandy, and this is Making It My Own DIYs. Welcome. So if you got a bunch of those trees from Dollar Tree a year or two ago, and you don't know what to do with them, you just got them because, that's what we do as crafters. I'm going to give you an idea. All right? We're going to need paintbrushes. I think we used about 6 of those trees. I'm going to use a white paint and some wax. I just happen to have Snow White. Doesn't matter which white you choose. I'm going to use zip ties. This little ghost sign that I got this year from Dollar Tree. You can tell it's this year. You see the red dot on there? They're covering up the $1.25. I think I paid $1.50 for this. But it is big. It's about 15 by 15, roughly, at the widest points. Just to give you an idea. And then the wreath that is underneath, you can see the size of that as well. It's the largest wreath, wire wreath form that you can get at Dollar Tree. And yes, I know, y'all, the prices have gone up on everything. I'm trying to reuse as much that I had from last year as possible while keeping in mind that it needs to be things that you can find. Okay, so the bottom of this is like a metal. What I want to do is take one of those stems that is closest to the bottom and just wrap it around there to help cover that up a little bit. We're going to be overlapping these to make this look like, to become a new form, like a base for the form, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and do this to each one of those. If that brown thread that is wrapped around there starts to fray or come off, just cut it off. It really doesn't matter. You could also paint these black if you wanted to, the bottoms where the silver is sticking out. But you can pretty much cover up all of those pieces. You just disguise it. We know what to do, don't we? So to fluff this out, we're going to just kind of make it flat on one side because we don't want any bulk getting in the way of the tree attaching down to the wire form. So if we move everything to the front, it looks nice and fluffy and wide on the front side, and then we have a flat surface to attach to the wreath on the bottom. I'm separating these, seeing where they are attached to the form and pulling those out, just I guess like you would with a Christmas tree, right? When you're fluffing up a Christmas tree. Okay, so this is going to be our starting piece. Now I decided to start on a crossbar. It really doesn't matter. I just wanted to be sure that it didn't move. And my experience with wreath making is that if you start on one of those crossbars, it'll keep your pieces from sliding back and forth. So that's why I'm doing that. I am going to use my cutters and just cut that off. If you have some type of scissors that you use for crafting to cut the rough things, then you can do that. Even I think kitchen scissors would probably be okay, or utility scissors for something like this. And then I'm going to go up to the top where the metal ends. And then you can either overlap it on that metal part, which I guess you could call the trunk of the tree, the base of it, and tighten it down. Or you could do it around the little tinsely looking section if you wanted to. Just be sure that you get it down there nice and tight. Now, when you fluff this out, it is going to require a little bit of trimming up later because the shape of the tree, it's tapered, right? And you want your wreath to be more uniform, but that's not a problem. We're going to take most of those branches and pull them to the outside of the wreath, just leaving a few little ones on the inside. We want it to look nice and full, and I found by playing with this that it works best if you do it that way. So another look at that, the same thing. We're just going to make it sort of flat on one side and a little fluffier on the other side. I want to overlap this one on top of the other one. Now you're going to want to go up a little bit higher than I actually did. And you'll see that later, why I'm telling you that you would probably want to do that. Same process here. I'm overlapping and I'm going around the wreath form. So now the three are connected. Both trees and the wreath form are all connected. And they're not curved, and you really can't curve this metal base or the middle trunk of the tree. I'm not even going to bother going into doing all of that. Didn't even try to do it any other way but by hand, which did not work for me personally. So if you want to try to bend them, you can certainly do that, but it's really not necessary. So, like I said before, most of the branches on the outside and upward, and then the few that are going to be in the center are just going to help kind of fill it out, because we're going to be putting something on there that's going to mainly cover up the middle of the wreath. I chose the larger wreath form because it is a big ghost. If you have a smaller ghost cut out, then you can certainly use a small wreath form. Continue around here. If you are stopping by my channel today because somebody shared this video with you, or you saw it on Facebook or Pinterest or whatever the reason, if I just popped up in your recommendations, then I really appreciate you being here and taking some time to check out what I have going on here. I also want to take the time to say thank you to every single subscriber I have, because I have reached 96,000 subscribers. And I am working on a goal of 100,000, and that will get me verified on YouTube. That just gives me a little more recognition, which helps my channel. And it's just a personal goal that I have to get, you know, a silver play button, to get the little plaque that says, look, you worked hard and here's your reward for it, right? Yeah. So I would love it if you would subscribe if you have not already. We're going to continue along, keeping in mind that we want to overlap each and every one of those tree bases to the top of the next tree, just like this. Okay, so we're getting back to our original starting point. And this is why I said you should get them a little bit closer together, because when I put this one on, the tree is going to be a little bit bulkier. Do you know what I'm saying? You'll see what I mean. I'm going to have to trim on this tree a little bit, and I'm going to have to tuck it a little bit underneath the previous tree in order for it to lay flat and to look more uniform. So I'm going to keep spreading those out. So I'm just going to tuck this under, because that's how they all started, right? The base up underneath the top. What you don't want to do here is to try to force that in. If you force that in, you're going to break that middle wreath form. These are not really heavy duty forms that you get from Dollar Tree, so you don't want to break your form, right? So I'm going to find a way to overlap this and make it look a little bit less bulky in this section. And then, even though it is a little bit thicker, it's going to be the bottom of the wreath, so it almost looks like it's intentional in the end. Don't you love it when a boo-boo ends up being something great? Happy accidents, happy little accidents. And so I'll overlap here just where it reaches the other one. And then if you wanted to, you could also try to connect them with the little branches that are coming off of the tree bases. You could certainly do that. Now, if you have black, why am I needing help with speaking today? If your wraps are black, that is even better, because you don't have to try to disguise them or cover them up later. The only ones I had at the time are white. And like I said, I'm trying to go through the things that I already have at my house. Right now, prices are going up at Dollar Tree, and they're going up at lots and lots of stores. I've even found a couple of places that didn't even have price tags on them, which is always a concern to me, because if I can't scan it, I'm not going to take it to the register. I'm not going to take the time to take it to the register and ask how much it costs and then make a decision there. No, I want it or I don't want it, and I'm going to base the price largely on what I pick up, if that makes sense. Okay, so now this is what I mean. We're going to put a little bit toward the inside, keep putting the rest on the outside. But you see the shapes. It looks like overlap trees right now laying on there, right? You can see there are sections that are much longer because of the way the trees are tapered. All you have to do is take your wire cutters and you're going to trim it down. This is so easy to do. If you don't have wire cutters, you don't want to trim it down, fold those over on themselves to make them the same height as the rest of them, so that they are fairly uniform, right? That's what we want to do because I do want this to be a round wreath. And so in order to get that round shape, I'm going to have to do a little bit of cutting, fluffing, and be creative. So I'm just keeping in mind the shape of a circle and just kind of, you know, trimming it. You can see what I'm doing here. And you could certainly most likely make this look like a square if you wanted to. But don't throw those little pieces away that you're cutting off because those pieces can be used for something else, right? I'm going to take mine and put them in a jar because these can be used as accent pieces on other crafts that we do. Definitely. Okay, so now it's looking a little bit more round. Not perfect, but you know, we're always zhuzhing around on our crafts anyway. So now let's set it aside and we'll start working on this little ghost. We need to fill the hole in. For the life of me, I cannot find my lightweight spackle. So what I have decided to do is just use a little bit of hot glue. I'm going to put a piece of paper over it. Now this will be the back, okay? The front of it is what needs to be nice and smooth. I did the best I could with my glue gun. I put a drop of glue in there, like right in the center, and I removed my web. And then I took my little cheese knife that I use as a scraper all the time and just kind of flattened it out. You can still see it's a little rough, but you can sand it, you know. Best thing you can do here is use a little bit of spackling and fill it in, but you make do with what you have, right? All right, so I'm going to take some of that paint and I am going to put this on here. Y'all make your work easier by using the right size tool for the project you do. I don't want to get a tiny paintbrush and just constantly be dipping, dipping, dipping and taking, I don't know, how many times more and how many more minutes to get this covered. I don't want to do that. I'm going to give this a light cover. I'm going to make sure that it is covered, but I want to give it a light cover all the way around. I'm trying not to get it on the sides, but if you get it on the sides, don't worry about it. I'll show you how to fix that. Not a problem. And the reason I say that is because the outside's darker on these like laser cutouts. They're darker, and it really does help the features and the pieces kind of pop. We're going to dry this. Set it aside to dry. Go have a coffee. Go put some laundry in the wash. Go make your bed. Whatever you need to do. I'm just going to do this for you quickly. And then once it is dry, I'll take my little finger dauber here and my antiquing wax. And then we're going to put a little bit of shadowing along the outside. If you are into rustic or farmhouse for what you do for your Halloween projects, you can definitely go in here and try doing a like a dry brush with your wax or with the brown. Totally up to you. You see the difference this makes? It's the little things, y'all. And I know I say that a lot, but it really is the little things. I'm tapping it into the wax and then tapping it onto the paper. It gives you a little bit lighter of a coverage in case you make a boo-boo. And it also, by pouncing it down on that paper, it pushes that up into the spongy part and makes it hold a little bit more. So you don't have to dip as often. And just in my experience. We're going to continue around this way. Now, if you don't have wax, you can definitely use like those furniture repair markers that you get at Dollar Tree. Now, that's where I've always gotten mine. You can get them at other stores, but I don't know if the price has gone up, y'all. Honestly, I don't know if it's still $1.25. I just really don't know. But I do know that in the decor sections, the prices have gone up. The dishes, cups, bowls, stuff like that, that's all gone up. It's really sad. It's really sad. Okay. All right. So we're just going to continue around until I get the coverage I want. If you make a boo-boo like I did and smear a little bit, wipe it off, let it dry, and then go back over with your white paint and a tiny brush and just kind of, I'm using air quotes here, erase it. And you'll never know it was even there. We can fix things. We're crafters, right? We're creative. We know how to fix things. So once I am happy with the outside coverage, and you can even see laying on my table the difference that makes. It really stands out and creates a shadow there that I really like. In smaller spaces, you can use a Q-tip to go in and do your, I almost said highlighting, but I don't guess that's what it is. Your shadowing. There we go. You can go all the way around. So I started off by doing it this way, but I wasn't getting the control in the application that I wanted. So ideally you would put something down on your table and then put this on top of it to do the next step. But I didn't. I just did it right on top of the table. Told y'all I'm a messy crafter. I make that little mouth stand out, get all those little details. So I just laid it on the table, pressed it up against the side of the cutout and onto the table, and just traced it around there. And then I got the perfect coverage that I was looking for, and all I had to do was clean the table up a little bit. Love it. So much of crafting is experimentation and seeing what works for you and seeing what you like. And I love to be able to get my divine inspiration and bring that to you and bring you the ideas. And, you know, that's why I try to stay so positive on this channel, because we all start somewhere. I started somewhere, you know, but I've learned over the years to trust myself and trust the things that I do. And I feel confident that if I bring that to you and I bring you and share with you those positive aspects, that it'll be helpful. Big thank you to my channel members for keeping me going. My kids say thank you too. All right, so this is so old, y'all. This came from Target many, many years ago. Many, and it's been in my stash. But you can use one of these that comes from Dollar Tree. And I'm also going to use some black beads, just a string of black beads. But you can also use rope, ribbon, baker's twine, whatever you like. I'm going to take this apart where it was initially attached because I don't like that it wasn't symmetrical. Yeah, I know that's weird, but that's just how I am. I didn't like that they were squished together. So I'm going to put this almost like a hanging sign, and I'm going to attach it with some E6000 and also some hot glue. Why both? Because E6000 will stick to just about anything, where your hot glue has a tendency to pop off of metal. So I don't want anything to be rejected here. I'm going to put both on. The hot glue will hold it until I can get that E6000 to dry, because I have to slide it back on my table and, you know. So over the top, I'm just going to kind of squeeze some hot glue over the top so that it dribbles over the top and down onto the sign underneath. Okay, so now I'm going to choose paper. I got a stack of papers. These are just scrapbook papers you can get from anywhere. And I decided to use the spider webs. I like the little vintagey feel. I like the shade of orange, and I think they would be really cool as eyes and a mouth. So I'm just looking to see how they would be placed and then cutting them out accordingly. Of course, we're going to do a dry run before we glue anything down. I'm checking it out. Do I like this? Do I like the way that, oh, look at that. I think that's cute. And I think it is going to look really nice with those trees that we have on the base of our wreath. Please tell me why I'm putting the glue on like this. I never do it like this. But again, we want to try different things. We try different things. Allow it to dry. Okay. And then I'm deciding, do I want the mouth to be open or not? And no, I do not, because all you're going to see is little bits of tinsel on the wall behind it. So let's go ahead, make it more uniform, and give him a little mouth. So this time, I'm going to add some glue underneath it like I normally do to hold everything in place. So now he has a face. How cute is he so far? I love it. He's cute. Now the sign is dry. We're going to let him hold his sign. You could do any of the little signs like spooky or whatever. And if you didn't want to do a sign and you didn't have the pieces for this, you could do a stencil, or you could maybe do stickers. Or you could just leave him without anything. So I'm thinking, I love this. It looks like he is holding up this haunted house sign. This is going to have a little movement because it won't be glued completely down, so it will have a little bit of movement in it. I'll add a little E6000 and a little hot glue to hold it in place, because if you do put him outside, you want to know that the hot glue is not going to get too hot and pop off. That E6000 should hold it in place. Through the wind, through the heat. Yes. I'm going to press it down, give it a minute for the hot glue to do its thing, and then I'm just going to use hot glue on the wood bead and the wood cutout sign. Press it down to make sure it's got good contact. I think it's cute. Oh, and it turned out just exactly like I envisioned it. He's a cutie. I want to leave the ends hanging down, almost like a chain. You know, if you had a chain, that would be cute too. A little fake chain. Yeah, kind of a little Bob Marley thing. All right, so I'm going to position him where he's sitting on the thickest part of this wreath, and that is where we overlapped on the end. You recall that? So any spaces that you see on the inside that are not covered by him, you can go ahead and take some of your little branches and push them toward the inside and cover up your bald spots. Now we're going to connect them. I'm going to use pipe cleaner and use a little piece of scrap paper to hold it in place. And we'll do that at 2 points, but you could also do it on his other arm or the other side if you wanted that added security. Allergies, y'all. Allergies. Excuse my cough. Okay, so now we're going to find a way to attach him down here. Now, for me, I always want to make sure that I am attaching down to the wreath form itself and not loosely on the top. It makes it a lot more secure. I'll do the same thing on this side, and I'm not going to pull it so tight that it pops off. I'm just going to pull it tight enough that it is secure and it doesn't wiggle around. Now this is where I'm kind of covering in any spots that need to be covered with the extras. And this is also a time where you can go ahead and trim more if you need to trim more. I'm going to keep going around, going around. I want to thank you all so much for the support that you give me through every video, through every comment, through every like, through every watch. I truly do have the best subscribers in the world, the most intelligent, creative, kind, encouraging, and supportive people ever. And when I have days, and I do have bad days, we all do, the things that you say to me and that support and love means so very much, and I appreciate that. And yes, y'all, for the ones of you who said boyfriend, did you say you have a boyfriend? Yes, I do. Yes, I do have a boyfriend. Okay, so now I decided, you know what? This one's going to be a girl. We're going to fix her up, and we're going to add some flowers and some stems and whatever we want to add here. You can also add any little ornaments that you have. If you have little ornament sleeves that you get from Dollar Tree with the different colors, you can put those on there. You could just leave this without anything but the ghost if you wanted to. You can see me adding the glue and then holding that to the back of the sign. I'm actually gluing it to the sign and not down to the wreath, but you can also wire it in if you want to. The bouquet pieces that you see me using are from Walmart. I don't know if they have their Halloween out this year. This is some that I bought when I did a tree, Halloween tree a few years ago. So, you know, I recycle, I dismantled it, and I use my pieces. The stems are from TEMU, but I have been told that you can get those black stems at a bunch of different craft stores. So just, you know, get in your search bar, look for Halloween stems or black stems or however you need to do it if you want to find some. So a little hot glue will hold my little pieces in place and be nice and secure. Now, I didn't like that this one was a little bit longer, so I just went ahead and cut it. I know, I know. Did it matter? Probably not much. I don't think anybody would say, you got 5 beads on one side and 8 on the other, but you'd be surprised what people tell me in the comment section here. Just read through the comments one day when you're bored. Read through the comments. You'd be surprised at the things I hear. I've taken the jewels off of 2 spider rings that I got from Dollar Tree, and those are going to be the sparkly little pupils. She has beautiful cat eyes. Isn't that lovely? Did I do too much? Did I do too much, y'all? Now be sure you continue to fluff until you get the round shape that that you want. I've got a little more fluffing to do here. But overall, I think that she is adorable. She's so cute. And this was easy. And you most likely have many of these pieces already in your house to make this project, so you can save yourself a little bit of money. I'm looking forward to doing many, many more new Halloween projects now that my kids are back in school, so be sure that you subscribe and hit that little notification bell, or otherwise you may miss a video that comes out, right? You might miss it. And I don't want to miss seeing you and commenting with you. Check out this rectangle down here below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.